Hello everybody, Pillars TCG here, and today I am bringing you an archetype overview of what is my actual favorite archetype in the entire game of Pillars, so really hope y'all enjoyed this. Now, the last archetype overview I went over the golems, which is a multi-faction archetype, and here the elemental archetype that I'll be talking about today is the second multi-faction archetype of the game. Except, unlike the golems, this one plays a lot more as one centralized unit. Now, to start off here, we have Ice Elemental. It is a level 2 uncommon Dallas unit with 1200 power and 1200 defense, art here by Crustacean Connoisseur. I really like how it looks, and basically the theme of the elementals is they're fairly mediocre cards. 1200 is not a great stat line, and it is a vanilla no ability, so on that regard it's not the best, which is why it is an uncommon here. But that's sort of the theme of the elementals. You'll see right here as we go to the next one, which is the Wind Elemental. I really like the art on this one by Mozzarella Steaks. Wind Elemental, again, an uncommon level 2, this time Karak unit, 1200 as the stat line. And you already start seeing here that I wanted, with the golems, you had directly fire, water, and moving in with grass, just directly what the element's about in terms of their faction, while I want to go slightly askewed with the elementals, which is why for the water faction you have ice, and for the desert faction you have wind. Next elemental to show is the Vine Elemental, art here by Hollow. The Vine Elemental is, again, uncommon, level 2, 1200, this time of the Morvis faction. Really like how this one looks as well. Then the Rock Elemental of the Vitus faction, again by Crustacean Connoisseur, who did the Ice Elemental. The Rock Elemental, again, uncommon, level 2, 1200. You're obviously seeing the pattern. All of the elementals are very basic, fairly weak cards, but they're not useless in any way. Then finally, for our art here by Mozzarella Steaks is the Smoke Elemental, 1200, uncommon, level 2. So as you can see, they embody their element. You've got the ice, which is a personified like ice creature, wind's a wind creature, vine is a vine creature, rock's a rock creature, smoke is a smoke creature. They've got their head, their arms, and then some sort of body to go along with this. So they've all got very similar designs despite different artists. I really love that. I really love how these all look. They're probably wondering, how do these actually play together? Because it's very difficult to play a multi-faction deck anyways, let alone a very large one. So why would you do this? And the answer is the Mythic here from the Mercenary faction, art by Hollow, looks absolutely amazing. Love the coloring I chose for it. The Ancient one. You'll see on the art you have the Smoke Elementals coloring on the head, the wind on the body, the ice here on the arm, the Rock Elementals, yellowish, greenish head right here, and then you've got the green from the Vine Elemental. And so for the effect I want to do, because all mythics have this glow to them, I want to do the red. I love how this card turned out. But you can see, even though it's a mythic, the Ancient one, it's of the Elemental archetype, of course a unit like all the others, but it's only 300, which is weaker than most level 1s, and this being level 3. Little confusing, but you understand it because the effect reads, this unit may not be played except by destroying as many elemental units of different factions as you like from your field. This unit gains half the total stats of the destroyed cards, rounding up. So, these rounded up stats really add up. If you manage to have an Ice Elemental, a Wind Elemental, Vine Elemental, Rock Elemental, and Smoke Elemental on your field, you would be able to play the Ancient one, destroy all of those. You just play this straight up onto the field, It is played very differently than any other card. And when you play it then, if you have all of those, their total stats add up to 6,000. So when you half that, you get 3,000. Suddenly you have this big boss monster of 3,300 power and defense. I love it. Love how complicated it is. And it's just so powerful. So obviously very strong. But if you know the rules to the game, you'll know there's some limits to this, such as how are you supposed to play 5 different factions in one deck? And the answer to that is that while you need to have pillars of a faction, you can declare one faction at the start. So for example, you can declare a Tsar, and you can play Tsar units for free. Then you can have a Vitus pillar, a Morvis pillar, a Karak pillar, and a Dallas pillar, which will allow you to have all 5 units. However, the other difficulty of that is because you can only have 4 units on the field at a time. So that already starts to limit its effect, which is why supporting cards for this archetype are cards such as Pillar of Abundance, a regular common mercenary pillar, regular level 2 pillar, art by Mozzarella Stakes, which simply reads, each player may have up to 6 units on their field, which means you are going to properly be able to play this card. From that, you can have your 5 on the field, destroy them all, play your ancient one. Other ways to get around the fact that your pillars can be destroyed, leaving you, maybe you lose your Vitus pillar and your other ones are played, so you can no longer play your rock elemental. Here's a card, art by Speed, Mana Extraction, a rare strategy tactic of the mercenary faction, which reads, discard a pillar from your hand. Play a level 1 unit to your field of that pillar's faction. So while these are level 2s, if you still have that pillar in your hand, you can just discard it with Mana Extraction, run 4 of these in your deck, and just play it, discard that pillar, and get that unit out there. Which obviously helps because if you want to use this Pillar of Abundance, that will also be taking up a potential pillar slot for the others. Another really cool thing you can do with this is that your Ancient One is an elemental unit and its archetype, as we mentioned earlier, which means that this also counts as one. So if you do your whole combo and you have this 3,300 Titan on your field, just standing in the way, nothing can destroy it except any sort of tactic, then what you can do is you can actually use this effect again, and this time, instead of having your 5, which add up to 6,000, you can add to that base 6,000 with a 6th unit here that already is 3,300. And if you add that, you get 9,300. Dividing that by 2, that would be 4,650, rounded up 4,700. Meaning that if you do this combo a second time using the Ancient One, you have a 5,000 power, 5,000 defense mega unit on the field. It was pretty much a good game beforehand, even more so now. Love the fact that you can stack up this combo. It's awesome. There's one more supporting card I would like to highlight, and that's simply Pillar of Recharge, another level 3, or another mercenary pillar, a level 3 rare, art once again by Mozzarella Stakes. It simply reads, once per turn you may discard a card from your hand and draw a new one from your deck, which is very simple but very strong, which essentially just allows you to cycle your deck for these other pillars of various factions to play your new units, to level them up into these elementals, and then from there you're able to just go through your deck very quickly. Other use is that your Pillar of Abundance, if you have this mega unit of the Ancient One on your field, you may not want your opponent to be able to have more blockers, especially if you just cleared your field. So if you then level up your Pillar of Abundance into a Pillar of Recharge, as they're of the same faction, they'll destroy any excess units, make the field limit go back to 4 cards, and just put you in a better space to win this game. So yeah, hope you all enjoy. I'm very excited about this archetype. It seems hard to pull off, but oh, it's cool. So yeah, I hope that everybody enjoyed this video. Leave a comment about this archetype. What do you think about it? What do you think are its strengths, maybe potential weaknesses, anything in that regard. Leave a comment into anything about the game that you're excited for in general, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.